Welcome back, Carlos. Welcome everyone back to our channel. As usual, we're discussing today more sales challenges, and today is not the exception. We're going to be talking about one that is very interesting for everybody. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you, Anna. I think we will discuss today about training, which is a very exciting topic in every single sales organization.
Thank you for joining us today. As usual, in our channel, you're going to find a lot of different sales challenges and how the technology is helping us overcome them in our companies and in our independent businesses when we are sales representatives. So we want to give you, Carlos, a very warm welcome and invite everybody to subscribe to our channel so you can find all the other topics that we've been covering when it comes to sales. And let's start. Let's talk about how the companies can offer the best possible training process to their representatives and their potential sales representatives.
So I think the first point is to understand there is a key difference, depends on your product, your business model, and your market. But besides that, we'll try to cover the general topics that is not related to any of these differences. So I think the process begins when you need to understand your value proposition and to be sure that everybody is trained properly in that topic. Then I think the second topic is the product. So for sure, you need to train your sales first in every single detail possible to do the best in this. You need every single sales representative to be the expert in the product and the company. That's the first 2 points. Then we jump to the third category that is more soft skills and sales practices. So I think in the appropriate order is sales practices always first. You need to teach, depends on your business model, what is the good practices to do a successful sales process. Then a lot of soft skills is required to have icebreakers, to communicate properly, to have an engaging conversation, and a follow-up activities and so on. And that I think create or is the origin. And another good thing is the self-development. Is you need to embrace your sales force to teach themselves the good practice to invest every single day a few hours just in yourself in a lot of topics that are possible on there. And finally, I think to have a continuous evaluation process to understand how you're addressing, increasing your capabilities every single time is the best way to do it. So the company can do it in several ways. That I think that's the first chapter for sure. And that's a lot of other things that need to be involved as technology and the others. So
Exactly. Before delving deeper into these topics, I think that it's very important to summarize that training is not a one-time thing. Training is a continuous cycle on how the companies teach their entire sales force their value proposition and how they're constantly reinforcing all those concepts that make or break the success of the salesperson when they're out in the field, when they're presenting the portfolio, when they're presenting the services, and also how they stay up to date with the best way of channeling that communication to their audiences. Because as a sales representative, for example, if I'm in a company that sells insurance, is not the same that if I'm a sales representative in a company that sells medical supplies or that sells basic, let's say, clothing. It's a very different training process, and the demands that the field has on the training that the company offers, depending on their requirements and what they have to go offer their clients and their networks of other sales representatives on the field. So, regarding the practices for each one of those training components that you just shared with us, let's start with what's the best set of practices that a company can have in order to train their representatives in understanding the company and the value proposition.
I think practice is shared with tools as a company level, in the sense that you can actually buy the different tools that owns those processes inside. So I think that the first one is you need to have some career path or some planning in terms of the what is the process that you can take, because maybe you have, I don't know, 100 training materials that you need to share with your different team members. But I think it's differently when you are in the first baby steps. You're just starting your process to the company, or you are diving in into the product, or you are maybe in this doing some increasing your soft skills to improve your productivity. So it's the different objectives in different moments, so that creates different paths to get the training. So, and usually the good tools has this process inside. I think the second one is how to measure and to do the follow-up activity. I think half of that process can be absolutely automatically with the appropriate lessons that you are reviewing at the end of every chapter, that you are understanding the process correctly. Every single good tool also provide that capability. And the third one is a criteria, which is impossible to get automatically, but is the good point is the mentors or who is leading those training activities need to provide, I think, a good feedback to every single of the sales representatives that are taking these paths to understand how they're succeeding or not into the process. So what is required to move ahead, and those comments can improve hardly the result, because it's not the same that just doing by myself, providing a feedback for someone that is telling me the real truth. Hey, you need to improve in this, you are going well in this, and so on. So that's, I think, the best approaches in terms of practices at a very high level.
And these set of practices that you're sharing with us, we're going to have deeper conversations about them, and you're going to explain all of them in another video of this series, because there is a lot of comments that can be done and a lot of practices that we can make with all the years of experience that S4DS has when it comes to training and how to enable that training that the company has to offer with these different set of practices and all these different tools that can be used to provide a better training. So let's stay in touch with the S4DS channel. The subscribe button is right down here. And let's continue, Carlos. Is there any other practices or processes or activities to make more fun the training process when it comes to the other moments of the training that are necessary, yes or yes, when it comes to sharing product knowledge, when it comes to sharing sales practices, when it comes to actually sharing with the people those soft skills that they're going to need as sales representatives?
I think let's go back a small step, which is choosing the technology is key. And there
Yes.
are different practices, because if we get the same conversation that we have until now, you can leverage maybe just in a physical place, scheduling training 9 to 5 every single day for a week. And that's the old way to do it. And it's not necessarily all that you cannot redo it right now. It is something just to take in consideration. There is a different ways to do this process. So the first one is to understand how much of this process can be physically, because you can, or how much is online. And when it's online, we mean that there are different, I think, a set of practices. The first one is to go to an LMS, as an example, learning management system that you're using, to have a very clear paths, different tracks. Maybe it's 10 tracks that I can learn: company, product, soft skills, skill development, and so on. Another thing is the path internally into the tracks. I need to do this first, then this the second one. This doesn't matter. So I have a clear path. I have evaluation during the process. That's
Mhm.
where LMS provides. The second
Carlos,
point,
here, let me interrupt you for 1 second because I know S4DS has a lot of experience on helping the companies structure and implementing with technologies like LMS systems the best possible training process for their entire sales force. Can you give us a little bit more on how S4DS has managed to become such experts on implementing learning management systems for their clients?
I think it is helping the companies to do everything that we have been saying in this small summary today. But besides that, it's understanding that you need to be a very clear in the terms of UX that you are in your side. You're never going out. Is the same login. It's not a separate platform. So you are in the company. So you are feeling always in the same place. That I think is a small advantage that provide a big result. I think the second one is designing the appropriate set of materials and be very, very robust in terms of the different ways that you can do it. Videos, video blogs, maybe images with, I don't know, infograms, a lot of different ways to teach because you need to be flexible. The way you can leverage the evaluation can be funny, and that's where the gamification starts. Is you can do puzzles, you can do, I don't know, series of numbers just to be sure that you are understanding what you're doing, plus you are getting fine doing it. So I think that's a small summary. And besides only the LMS, just taking that parenthesis, I think you need to add checklists. You need to add online tools in your normal processes to be sure that when everybody arrives to the appropriate process, regularly that they, for any reason, forgets the lessons that you take before, you can retake the key assets and the key small videos on the key elements just in the moment of truth. Just thinking of in the front of you that you are my customer. I don't want to be embarrassed or be feeling bad. It is, I think, I get frustrated if something like that happens. But if the company allows me to have the information just in my fingertips, so I'm clicking in your order, and I have a checklist that provide me a guideline what to do, and you're not seeing that, but I'm doing it. I feel comfortable, confident, and I will do it for sure much better. So it's just to understand, as you mentioned, is learning is a path. It's not something that you do in one day. It's something that you take forever. So provide different set of tools helps. Going back to the point is uh, how to do it successfully. So this online option is what we mentioned, and this is more parenthesis. And thank you, Anna, brings up a very good example of how to address it. The next one is you need to understand that some of your team members need to maybe work in a physical store, so they need to go home to the location and go back. So maybe that time can be very useful. So maybe to have the capability to have offline, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a video that you can get offline and play it during that time. It would be just great. Or maybe you're in a plane and so on. The next, I think, point is the different sites that is available that you can complement your training process. Not, it doesn't mean that you need to buy all the content, redo all the content in the company. We strongly advise that it is not the appropriate way. It is much better that you take those different sites, hire their services, and maybe you can have a, I don't know, soft skills training in, I don't know, working in collaboration with another third party that has a very robust system. So a lot of companies are doing very interesting examples like that. Actually, let me provide you a fast example. Is we have been working in, I think, 2 or 3 large projects in terms of training in the last year or so, and I think the most successful ones are the ones that I think has the more coverage, very good coverage. Right? That's the point. Is not only addressing the product or addressing something specifically. It has several tracks, products, uh, value proposition, all the different topics that we already explained. Plus, maybe they have one of the companies has a very strong environment in terms of regulations, so you need to
Yes.
teach properly your sales force against that. Another one has a lot of limitations in terms of the social media, how to use it or not, the do's and doesn't. That you need to be very clear about that. Uh, so that's another one. So is you need to provide those set of examples step by step. So uh, all the sales representatives are accountable in terms of those practices. And I think something that has been added in the last time is the data analysis. You need to understand which content is working well, which content isn't. So you are more clear in terms of how to improve your process continuously. You need to ask a lot to the field how the process is working, and that pretty much close the process.
Excellent, Carlos. So just to summarize here in 1 second, when it comes to the training that the company has to offer, you help us understanding that there is first 4 or 5 tracks in which the companies, no matter what type of company they are, need to provide training on, and it is the value proposition, the knowledge of the product portfolio, whether it's products or services, then the sales practices, depending on the business model, then the soft skills, and then how to continue this training to become part of the everyday life of their sales representative in order to keep up to be successful. Then we talked about the technology or the tools that the company can use. And you made a very good point when you explained to us that all these is not only happening online, that even in this day and age, we're talking about online training platforms like the learning management systems that are connected with the office back offices for those sales representatives, which is a huge advantage for any company that wants to successfully connect that training with the development of their sales force and connect that to their success in sales, but also how the offline options and the virtual live training sessions are a structural part of that training. And also, lastly, you talked to us about data analytics to track the progress and the performance of that sales force that the company has and that they want to enhance with training in order to get them to be more successful. So thank you very much for all that. And we're looking forward to the next video in which you explain all of that to us. But let's continue with the second topic of today's training. And it's okay, now, how does that happen for an independent sales representative? How is that training that they have to offer best practices? That is the first chapter of what we're talking about today.
Okay, if we don't, I think it's just to double click. If the company design what we already discussed, I think the next stage is how the someone that is on the field, regardless that is independent or works for the companies with a salary plus whatever. So I think the concern and the challenge is pretty much the same. The first thing is the set of skills and topics that need to be developed. Right now, hybrid models, hybrid approach in the go-to-market is extremely important because you can complement the physical life with the virtual life. That's what this pandemic enable us and accelerate us to do is you have both options on hand. In terms of the skills, you have all these company information, value, product, and so on. Plus, you need to improve, maybe, if that's your case, your digital capabilities, just pretending that you are very good at the normal physical skills. But
That you're a great sales rep.
correct.
But then you have the new challenge of the digitalization.
Correct. Or if not, you need to, I don't know, just starting this opportunity, I want to understand how can I behave in this field of sales, and I have been never before, and I need to improve in the two set of skills. Great. And I think the last one is management. You for sure, regardless of what you want to do, you need to be good at management in terms of your time, in terms of how to manage the meeting, be organized in terms of the communication. So you need to be very good at, and we'll talk later, you need to be good at the uses of the tools that you need to do it in the right way nowadays. Then we jump into how to enable that, how to address the point. So the company providing something, just pretend that the company providing me an online training tool. Done, check. What else can I do? Is maybe you can have role playing with friends and family. Just hey, just pretend that you are a very hard customer, and I want to provide you the appropriate information and be the problem solver in this conversation, regardless what you are asking. Or could be the same with someone that is very angry with a product that already bought before, or try to buy the product once and no one attended, and so on. So be very agile in terms of that capability to design the solution of the issue that is happening in the conversation is something that you need to work with. Then you have networking is another one that you can go to different meetings. Friends and family is the first point. If you go to the family meeting on Friday, you can start saying, hey, by the way, Anna, I'm working on this. What are your thoughts? And I can start practicing what I'm doing, and in larger spaces, larger every single time, which is you can go conventions even just to have a appropriate timing in every single conversation. And always ask for feedback. And I think that's the other key point is in every single conversation, you can always ask, hey, did you understand me well? Did you like my thoughts? What else do you think we can do about it? And so on. I think the other conversation is around tools. That's another big topic. And
Yes, when it comes, Carlos, to the technology, usually as an independent representative or even as a sales representative that is an employee of a company, we have had a lot of requests from sales representatives, and even in the companies when we have implemented S4DS, they tend to feel like, okay, the company is giving me X or Y tool, but then there is this whole other universe of practices and sales things that I want to learn as part of my continued learning path. What other technology options are there to help me as a seller become a better salesperson?
that's a very good point, Anna. Is besides that is provided by the company, or you need to play by yourself, that every single time is more accessible in terms of cost, and even a lot of them are free. So for sure you can do it. So the first one is a CRM. You need an structured place to put the different comments and to practice everything that you're learning. It's not only the e-learning, just you need the learning. We already talked about it. That's the most important piece. But
Mhm.
even that you have that e-learning, you need to put in some place your work. You can do it on papers, yes, or maybe just creating notes in your mobile. Yes, could be, but definitely a CRM help you to create every single lead, following up the activity, so you know that you're practicing what you learn. Okay, so you can do it on your own. There are a lot of free CRMs for 1 or 2, 3 users. Is free for yourself. Is free, or the company maybe has it. Another important tool, if we go to the virtual world, is a video conference tool. For sure, you need it. Once again, there are a lot of free, or the company will provide you the one that is validated by the company. Another set of tools is all the social media bells and whistles that is in there. There's a lot of features in every single social media tool that you can use. You go to LinkedIn, how to search, how to read blogs, how to get videos. You go to YouTube. In this case, you are learning. If you are here, it's because you're learning something. So it's just to use the different materials just to perform that. Uh, then we have some productivity apps that have content inside. When you buy the tool, you're not, and we always say that you're always are not only buying the tool, you are buying the tool with a set of practices, and the knowledge is in the practices, not in the tool. So depends on the productivity app, maybe an schedule manager, and for sure there will be hundreds of videos around how to use it the right way, how to use your time in the best way, how to have, I don't know, reschedule something, how to have a recurring date, and so on. And that provides you the set of practice that you need to have on hand every single time. And finally, learn from the different platforms that is available. YouTube, LinkedIn is the most well known, but depends on your niche. There's thousands of options. There is a lot of options when you go into that piece. The key point and the extremely advice is the implementation. You need to learn and practice. That's the reason I start with the CRM. And I'm sorry about if there's any misconception in there is, yes, you need the learning, but you need to practice. If you're not practicing, you're not learning. So that's the key point. Actually, Anna, that comes to my mind a very good activity that you were very involved with one of our customers not a long time ago with a very challenging project because it was with an audience that was not necessarily young, that wasn't
Mhm.
not very close to the company. The company was a very high rotation rate at that time, so the users are not involved for longer than 6 months or so. It was a very struggling moment. Can you tell us a little about that story?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about a few of those anecdotes that we have with the thousands of reps that we have helped training with S4DS and our academy. And I remember that it was very beautiful seeing the Salesforce actually develop their success plan with in the hands of the company and what the company had as their success path and their fast start, but starting from very basic concepts when it came to sales practices and sales tools and how to use that entire ecosystem that the company was offering them and how to become active at first with very basic technologies that are going to make you as a salesperson more efficient, more connected, more dynamic when it comes to working with your clients. And then we evolved that training into levels 2 and 3 of professionalizing their sales techniques. And we covered all the topics with the company in giving them virtual live sessions with some of our S4DS experts, and then how they get that merged with the company training on how to create a strong personal brand that is aligned with the company values. Then, how to step by step take that personal brand to social media and to their parties where they were presenting the product portfolio of the company. Then, how to become more and more influential with those groups, and then eventually how to become influencers for their niche audiences using all those technologies, whether they were provided by the company. And we even taught them how to find other tools and other trainings online to become better leaders, to offer a more attractive sales pitch. And from 0 to 100, we took sales representative from being lost in this world of sales practices to experts on sales, on influencing their people, and on how to use the technology in their favor when it comes to sales. And I think one of the greatest parts of this example is that it wasn't only like a random sales course that you provide your representatives with, but the fact that it was connected to the value proposition of the company that was S4DS's client, and that hand in hand, we enhanced their sales representatives and their sales force to succeed in sales.
And that, I think another couple examples came to my mind. I think as a good ideas is just to everybody can get aware of is one is how to balance the presence, not necessarily physically, but at least in a web meeting. I don't know, every Thursday night you could for have a couple hours that you have a workshop to practice and so on, and the rest of the time is at the sales piece of every single person. So it just came that idea that has been working for a while, very successful in some of the customers. And another one that came to my mind is I don't remember the number. It was like a 50x or 100x. I don't remember the exactly number. Is just to provide a training with a leaders, not necessarily in terms of the structure of the network, in terms of their importance in adoption in the digital world. So just pick the right people, and that people are the new leaders to communicate again. It's like I don't know. I remember that was maybe 50x. Is every single this leader that you train, you can multiply for 50x next time that he is training another group and another group and another group. So if you continually doing that, you can accomplish a very large organization in a very short time.
Exactly. The second level of the training, we had the company that provided the learning and the basics. Then we had top leaders in your sales representative force that already receive a training. But what you're mentioning is exactly the goal when it comes to training, and it is creating internal leaders that after you have a provider or even the company giving them the best of their knowledge, actually become the best coaches and tutors and mentors for all those other sales representatives that come and that are going to be implementing those sales practices, that are going to be adopting those tools, that are going to start checking things on their checklist and in their fast start program in order to get the company have a more robust group of representatives that are leaders and that can help the company in that training as they are more successful themselves and with their networks.
Absolutely.
Okay, Carlos, let's talk about the third group or the third audience when it comes to training. And it is, what if I'm a sales representative, but I'm in a store?
Okay, very good. I think in terms of the structure of the company process is the same what we already spoke about. I think it's exactly the same. You just created the topics, then the paths into the topics, and how to address that properly. But in terms of the audience, it's different because it's not the same that you are on the field, that your time, you manage your time. When you're in a physical store, you are supporting the inbound. So you need to understand your timing differently. That's the key point is to understand that there's this training framework that the company should provide. If not, you can research online for the second piece that I will touch in a minute in terms of your practices, in terms of communication techniques and so on, or your soft skills that you can develop. You can continue doing that besides that your company do not provide you the process. But thinking in the company make a lot of sense to have the training process that we have, just that we need to split up maybe the time differently in terms of the person is need to transport themselves to have maybe lunch time to so those specific moments that are personal time you can I think suggest to use it in the best way in terms of soft skills self-development and so on. So there are different ways to approach it. 100% is on every person, but the career path congratulate your effort. Or it could be half and half, or it could be several ways to approach that piece. But the hard piece around value proposition, product, sales practice, and so on, you need to use the the slowest times in the day. With the, I don't know, when you arrive in the morning, there is more calm. The first half an hour or an hour is very calm, and you can use that time. I think what is necessary is that the company and the sales representatives communicate well in terms of that we are doing this. We are not playing with the phone. Just I'm not involved in any personal activity at work. I'm just using the best of my time learning and being better. And that's when it comes is a lot of, I think, opportunity to be the best seller or the best customer representative at the place. And makes a lot of sense. And you for sure, the company will congratulate you on response in the appropriate way in terms of compensation and career path in the long term when you are really good at. So I think it's that the key point for the person, but the company is the same. Is you need to invest in order to be sure that every single sales representative are doing the best of their work. What are the skill sets that is different? Just thinking that is 100% physically, you can be sure that you learn those practices better. How to have a best customer support. Customer support is a very interesting moment of truth to create another opportunities because you came with a concern or whatever you bought last time, but I can help you in that and show you your opportunities with other products or any other specials that is available on the day. So you can convert a very bad moment in a very nice moment. So that's what you can learn and you can teach. Depends of the situation. You are the company, you are the sales representative, but be sure you can accomplish that. And the most important message for the sales representatives is regardless that the company is not touching any of these topics for any reason, whatever are the policies of the company, you can do it. It is not a big issue, and you can be very good at the process regardless of the company capabilities or restrictions. Depends on the different points.
Yeah, when it comes to a retail environment, from S4DS with the customers that we have had that have this omni-channel approach, there is always that extra challenge and extra concern when it comes to the training of those people in the store. Because initially the companies make a very big effort on the training that the company provides and in how to get them like ready to be in the store and represent the brand the best possible way. But then time passes and then they become just updated when it comes to, let's say, product training. But then there are all those other customer expectations that maybe the company cannot be providing constant training on, and it is how to provide a better experience when the customer come to the store for the first time versus when it's a returning customers versus when it is a customer support issue, as you just mentioned. And so there is that extra sales channel that implies by default that the training of the company, the initial training of the company, is not always enough. But there is always that need, especially in today's day and age with the expectations that consumers have, that the sales representatives train themselves in order to do a better job. And then that better job is reflected then in the compensation model that the company offers them and how they actually recognize all that effort that the sales representative is doing personally. So, yes, it's an effort that, as you mentioned, is a lot more personal, but the company can most definitely enforce that need, but also that potential reward if you, as a salesperson in a store, train yourself to do better with the customers and with the other sales reps that are there to learn from you.
And actually, a good example that came to my mind is we have one of our customers has a very robust omni-channel capabilities. So they have e-commerce, a physical store, sales representative on the field to create a more interesting geographic capabilities, and other channels. But I think the interesting point, they create uh, the concept to be an ambassador, which is you are a problem solver of the company. So whoever you are in touch with, you need to solve whatever they have on hand. So you cannot imagine the stories. What's crazy? Even personal stories. I said, hey, I want to tell you my story yesterday. It was about a personal story, nothing regards to the product. It's just I came to the story was like this. I think we have two examples in that specific situation. The first one was one of the sellers go to a house to have a demonstration. Uh, when this person arrives, the lady that was in the house was crying with a big drama in their family. So what he did was to work for the half of the day just to solve the problem. So it was deeper into that, of course, with a very respectful way. Is do you mind? Do you need some help? And the answer was yes, yes, I need it. So this person resolve the issue and help, and right now is a big piece of the family, so it is a very important piece of the family, just because he arrives in the right moment and really resolve what was in hand. Another story is different when when you go to a physical store and you ask for something and says I don't know, you get frustrated as a customer. Is this people works here and doesn't know what they're expecting from me as a customer? But you know that on the other hand, with this strategy, is what do you need? I need this and this. Unfortunately, we don't have the product, but let me try to help you. And the point is, they can sell you half of the store if this sales representative wants, just because he's enabling a communication. He's helping me out. Hey, I will call to another store that maybe can help you. Plus, you will not need this and this and this. And I will research online for you just to give you the appropriate advice how to resolve the point that you came here. Plus, you can do this and this and this. So definitely, you are adding value to the person who arrives. You are improving someone else's life. I think is a nothing bad for the day. But definitely, that's the challenge to create in the company the appropriate environment around be ambassadors, be problem solvers, be very proactive, and then the training will be the way to accomplish that. That's pretty much the key point. So going to physical stores, yes, there are a few great companies out there, and for sure you can do it in your company if definitely you work on it.
Exactly. At the end of the day, sales is a human activity, is a person to person activity, whether it is online or offline, in person or in an event. We actually talk about it in a very interesting talk that we had not too long ago with another sales expert. That we're going to leave that video down here about how sales are going to be impacted by AI. That is another technology, as the ones that we have mentioned up here, that are enablers of the training for sales reps and for the companies and also for the retail representatives, but that give us very good insights on how the future of sales is going to be impacted, but that does not necessarily mean that it's in a bad way by all these new technologies and especially the AI powered tools that we're seeing in this day and age. Carlos, any last comment when it comes to these training topics that we talk about today?
No, I think we already provide a very high level the appropriate information. I think the only message is training is key. You cannot expect great results not providing a great effort. Training is a very important piece of it. So if you're a company that you need to implement the appropriate set of tools and plans and materials. If you are a independent seller or someone that works for a company on the field, you need to invest your time properly to be better every single day. If you're in a physical store, just change the way it's working right now and let's switch that to have an ambassadors in every place, someone that provide happiness for every single customer that arrive to your place.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Carlos, for joining us today for another very insightful conversation about the sales cycle, starting with training. See you in the next video. Everybody, goodbye. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like it. If you like these topics when it comes to sales and technology and challenges in sales, in omnichannel retail, in direct selling, in the network marketing world, subscribe to S4DS's YouTube channel. We're bringing content very often, and it's usually this interesting or even better. And other than that, see you in the next video.
See you.